Under the golden Miami sun, two stunning girls, Lana and Mira, strolled barefoot along the warm shoreline. Their sun-kissed skin glowed as they laughed and scanned the sand for beautiful shells. It was shell hunt time, a fun challenge they took seriously. Mira wore a coral bikini, hair tied in a messy bun, eyes sharp and playful. Lana, in a turquoise two-piece, moved gracefully, her fingers combing through soft sand. They made it a race. Whoever found the rarest shell in 15 minutes would win a sunset drink. Mira squealed with joy as she spotted a pink spiral near the surf, holding it high in triumph. Lana smirked, unfazed, and moments later gasped she found a rare purple and gold shell tucked near a rock. Both admired each other's finds, grinning in the salty breeze. In the end, they called it a draw, tossing their shells in a shared glass jar, a memory of their sunlit shell hunt. As the waves kissed their toes, they laughed, ready for the next beach game. The Miami beach, as Sasha and Tia, two gorgeous girls with sun-kissed tans and radiant smiles, knelt near shoreline, toes brushing warm sand. They had challenged each other to a sand drawing contest. Whoever made most creative design would win ice cream from Boardwalk. Sasha, in a sleek black bikini, began carving a delicate mandala with a driftwood stick, her fingers steady, eyes focused. Tia, rocking a fiery red swimsuit, laughed and drew a giant mermaid with long, flowing hair and seashell details. Beachgoers began to gather, curious about artwork forming beneath their hands. Sasha's patterns swirled with perfect symmetry. Tia added playful hearts and waves around her mermaid. They glanced at each other, smiling. It wasn't about who won now. It was moment, their laughter, soft sand, their shared spark under sky. When the tide finally rolled in and gently washed the drawings away, they stood hand in hand, promising to come back tomorrow and create again. Maybe this time together on the same canvas. Nina and Jade set up their colourful ring toss game. Dressed in bright bikinis, Nina in sunshine yellow, Jade in ocean blue, they looked like summer itself. With chilled drinks nearby, they laughed as plastic rings clinked into place around stakes. Nina took first toss. Her ring landed perfectly. She twirled confidently, flashing a playful grin. Jade narrowed her eyes, focused. Her toss curved high and missed by an inch, prompting a mock groan and a giggle. Game quickly turned competitive. Each throw came with teasing, cheers or dramatic dives into the sand to retrieve rings. Beachgoers passing by glanced over, drawn to energy and laughter between two. In the final round, Jade landed a perfect double ring toss, catching up to Nina's score, but Nina sealed her victory with a graceful flick that landed dead centre. Jade raised her hands in surrender, then wrapped her arm around Nina's waist. "Winner picks dessert," Nina teased. They walked off together, glowing in fading sun. Plan a rematch tomorrow. On the soft sands of Miami Beach, two hot girls, Aria and Lena, knelt side by side, each collecting flat, smooth stones. The game? Inukshuk stacking, a test of patience, balance and creativity. Aria, in a sea green bikini, carefully arranged her base with 3 wide stones. Lena, wearing lavender, went for a bold curved design that looked like a dancing figure. The sun warmed their backs as ocean waves whispered nearby. They worked with focus, fingers dusted in sand, eyes flicking between their stacks and the next stone. A breeze swept through, making Lena's tower wobble slightly. But it held. Aria's grew taller, each stone perfectly aligned like a sculpture. When both placed their final pieces, they stood up and smiled at each other. Tourists passed by, admiring the miniature stone statues. "Yours is art," Aria said. "Yours has soul," Lena replied. Unable to choose a winner, they laughed and declared it a tie, sealing it with a selfie and a smoothie promise. The soft sands as girls from Group B gathered near shore, drawing a large hopscotch grid with a stick. Squares stretched unevenly across the beach, their edges a little wavy, but perfect for play. Wearing colourful bikinis, laughter in their eyes, they lined up for challenge. Rules were simple. Hop through sandy squares, one leg or two, without losing balance. Lila, first from Group B, tossed a shell into square one and hopped forward lightly, her steps smooth and quick. Behind her, Maya, Jenna and the others cheered, feet digging into warm sand. Group A watched, ready to take their turn, but the girls of Group B were focused and flawless. One by one they hopped cleanly, arms out for balance, giggles rising when sand shifted underfoot. No one fell, no one stumbled. Even the last square, half buried in sea breeze, was conquered with perfect grace. When it ended, Group B had nailed every hop. Group A clapped in good spirit, knowing this round clearly belonged to the steady queens of Group B. Towel toss. Using towels in pairs to launch and catch a beach ball through the air without letting it fall. It was trickier than it looked. Emma and Zara stood side by side, gripping their towel tightly. With a quick swing, they sent the ball soaring to Luna and Tessa, who caught it mid-air with smooth precision. Cheers erupted as the ball bounced back and forth, each duo in Group A moving with perfect timing. Their feet dug into the soft sand, laughter mixing with crashing waves. Even when a gust of wind shifted the ball mid-flight, they adjusted effortlessly, calling out, shifting position, and catching it with ease. Spectators gathered, clapping for every successful catch. The ball never touched the ground. Their coordination was flawless, a rhythm of trust, timing, and teamwork. Group A finished the round without a single drop. When the final toss landed softly into the towel, the team cheered. Victory was theirs, and well earned. Towel toss. Using towels in pairs to launch and catch a beach ball through the air without letting it fall. It was trickier than it looked. Emma and Zara stood side by side, gripping their towel tightly. With a quick swing, they sent the ball soaring to Luna and Tessa, who caught it mid-air with smooth precision. Cheers erupted as the ball bounced back and forth, each duo in Group A moving with perfect timing. Their feet dug into the soft sand, laughter mixing with crashing waves. Even when a gust of wind shifted the ball mid-flight, they adjusted effortlessly, calling out, shifting position, and catching it with ease. Spectators gathered, clapping for every successful catch. The ball never touched the ground. Their coordination was flawless, a rhythm of trust, timing, and teamwork. Group A finished the round without a single drop. When the final toss landed softly into the towel, the team cheered. Victory was theirs, and well earned. Sun dipped lower in sky as Group B gathered in a circle on soft sand, placing bright beach towels in a ring, one fewer than number of players. Game of musical towels began. The girls danced barefoot, moving in rhythm around the towels. Maya twirled playfully, while Jenna clapped to the beat. The music pulsed, energy rising, and suddenly it stopped. Everyone lunged. Giggles erupted as Lila barely landed on a corner of a towel, leaving Rhea without one. She laughed and cheered from the sidelines, now the referee. Another towel was removed. The game got faster, funnier. Hair whipped in the breeze, feet kicked sand, and Group B twirled, twisted and swayed with full flair. Each time the music cut, there was a mad, joyous dash. It came down to Maya and Jenna, dancing fiercely around the final towel. The music stopped, Maya leapt and landed in perfect form. Victory! Group B shouted with joy, piling on Maya in a sandy, laughing hug. They hadn't just played. They'd danced their way to glory. Girls of Group B gathered around a shallow pit they'd dug in the sand. It was time for Guess the Object, a game of touch and intuition. One by one, small beach items were buried beneath the sand. A shell, a smooth stone, a keychain, even a bottle cap. Maya, Group B's fearless captain, stepped forward and knelt beside the pit, blindfolded with a colourful scarf. The other girls giggled, challenging her to guess 5 hidden objects by feel alone. She dug her hands into the cool sand and paused. Flat, smooth. This is definitely a seashell. Cheers. 1 correct. The next was trickier, small and bumpy. Bottle cap, she grinned. Correct again. The crowd grew quiet as Maya guessed object after object. A sunscreen cap, a tiny shovel, even a damp hair tie. Her hands moved with confidence, her teammates watching in awe. By the end, she'd guessed every item perfectly. Group B roared with excitement, lifting her up in a sandy hug. "Captain of the senses," they shouted. Victory had never felt so touchable. Group B formed a wide circle on beach, ready for a fierce round of frisbee toss. Golden sand was warm beneath their feet, and sun lit up their smiling faces. At centre of the group stood Jenna, known for her incredible aim and quick reflexes. She held frisbee like a pro, her fingers curled just right. "Watch and learn," she winked, then spun it through the air with a sharp flick. It glided perfectly across wind, landing right in Lila's hands with barely a wobble. Cheers erupted. Girls moved farther apart, increasing the challenge. One by one, other players took turns, but Jenna's throws were unmatched. Low, high, spinning, sidearm, every toss was clean, fast, and accurate. Even when a gust of wind kicked up, she adjusted effortlessly, slicing the disc straight to her teammate. "She's like a frisbee machine," someone laughed. By the end of the game, Group B had completed more catches than ever before. Jenna's flawless throws led them to an easy win, leaving Group A clapping in impressed defeat. Beach buzzed with playful energy as Group A set up for a fun round of beach bowling. 10 empty plastic bottles were lined neatly in a triangle formation on smooth sand. A slightly deflated rubber ball served as their bowling ball, and excitement filled air. Emma stepped up first, brushing hair from her face, focusing hard. With a quick run-up, she rolled ball down sandy lane. It wobbled a bit, but strike! All 10 bottles clattered down. Cheers erupted. Next came Zara, followed by Luna, each adjusting their stance, learning weight of ball, timing their throws. Group A was in sync, coaching each other between turns, celebrating every knockdown like a championship victory. Their laughter echoed across beach, mixing with crashing waves and cheering onlookers. Even when ball veered, someone would shout, "Next one's a strike," and often was. By end of 3 rounds, Group A had racked up highest score of day. The beach buzzed with excitement as the scavenger hunt began. Group A received their list: sea glass, feather, toy crab, red shell and more. Without wasting time, they split smartly. Emma and Tessa ran toward the shore, while Luna, Zara and Nina scanned the dunes and scattered towels. "Tessa, I found sea glass," Emma called. Moments later, Nina waved a feather triumphantly. Luna spotted the red shell near a beach umbrella, while Zara grabbed a crab-shaped toy, half buried in the sand. The teamwork was seamless, and each girl moved with purpose. Their strategy paid off. They reunited quickly and laid the items out in record time. Judges nodded in approval and smiled in surprise. Group B was still hunting when Group A cheered and high-fived. Their smart division, sharp eyes and calm focus had sealed the win. It wasn't just about speed, it was teamwork, instinct, and knowing the beach like their own backyard. Group A proved that sometimes brains and planning beat wild rushing. Sun beamed overhead as laughter echoed across shore. It was time for bucket relay, and both teams lined up with small plastic buckets in hand. Goal was simple: fill bucket with seawater, run back and dump it into team's large container without spilling. Group B kicked off with fiery energy. First runner, Maya, sprinted barefoot across sand, splashing into waves with a gleeful laugh. She scooped water quickly, then raced back, her bucket barely losing a drop. Applause rang out. Next up, Jenna, fast and light-footed, dashed down beach like wind. She kept her eyes focused, holding bucket steady as water sloshed. Group B's members ran with perfect timing, their feet moving confidently over sand. Group A tried hard, but their water spilled with every turn. Meanwhile, Group B's coordination and balance kept their container rising fast. As final bell rang, Group B's barrel was nearly full. Cheers and sandy hugs followed. Their speed, balance and beach spirit had brought them an easy, splash-filled victory. The breeze rolled in strong, perfect for afternoon's kite-flying challenge. Both teams assembled with colourful kites, bright reds, blues and greens, each with long tails fluttering. The sky became their playground. Group B got theirs airborne quickly, floating gently above sand. But Group A had something special. Emma and Zara ran fast and steady, letting their kite line out with skillful control. Wind caught it just right. Cheers went up as Group A's kite climbed higher and higher, its bright yellow wings slicing through sky. It danced above others, dipping and soaring with grace. Even when a sudden gust threatened to twist line, Luna steadied it, working as a perfect team. Group B's kites fluttered close behind, but couldn't match height or elegance of Group A's flight. Kids pointed, clapping at kite, now a tiny dot above. As time ended, Group A's kite remained highest and most stable. Judges smiled and nodded. In this sky-high contest, teamwork, patience and perfect timing had lifted Group A to victory. Beach crowd gathered around as Kanjam cans were set in sand, glinting in sun. The game was simple: toss frisbee and score by hitting or jamming it into can. Group A stood ready, but it was Group B who looked laser-focused. Maya stepped up first, gripping frisbee with calm confidence. Her teammate Leah stood near can, eyes locked on disc. Maya launched frisbee, clean and fast. Leah tapped it mid-air, skimming can for an easy point. Next round, roles switched. Leah flung disc with a perfect spin. Maya, quick on her feet, slapped it down hard right into slot. Crowd gasped and then erupted in cheers. A perfect jam, instant win if other team couldn't match. Group A tried to answer back, but their throws were off by inches. Group B kept their rhythm, reading each other's moves like pros. By end, Group B stood smiling with sandy hands and high fives all around. Their sharp timing and clean communication earned them win and serious beach respect. And winners say, we win the game. We win the game. A line was drawn, cross it, another team wins. Tug of war was on and both groups lined up, gripping tight with sandy fingers and fierce eyes. On one side, Group A braced their feet, heels digging deep into hot sand. On other, Group B leaned back with power and determination. "Ready? Pull!" someone shouted. Rope snapped tight as struggle began. Muscles flexed, flew in every direction as feet slid and dug. Girls shouted in rhythm, urging each other on. Red ribbon quivered in middle, jerking slightly toward Group B, but then, with a united heave, Group A dug deeper. Tessa anchored back, her legs like tree trunks, while Luna and Nina chanted, pulling in perfect sync. Group B fought hard, but line began to shift. Inch by inch, ribbon moved toward Group A's side. With one last mighty pull and a burst of cheers, red ribbon crossed line. Group A had edged out Win, dusty, breathless, but victorious. Their teamwork and raw willpower had dragged home a gritty beach triumph. It was time for sandcastle contest. Both groups circled their patches of sand, ready to sculpt their dreams into reality. Group B wasted no time. Maya, Leah, and Isla began crafting 2 tall towers, while Zoya shaped base with smooth walls. Nina dug a wide moat around it, carefully guiding a trickle of water in from sea using her bucket. Shells were gathered, shiny whites, pink spirals, and even tiny coral bits, to decorate walls and towers. Maya carefully placed a scallop shell crown atop tallest tower, while Zoya etched windows and doors with a stick. Meanwhile, Group A built a solid structure, but couldn't match Group B's detail. Spectators walked by, admiring moat, symmetry, and decorated arches of Group B's castle. When time was called, judges circled both entries. Group B's 2-tower masterpiece, complete with shells and a working moat, stood proud and regal. Applause followed as team cheered and posed for a photo with their sandy fortress. Creativity and teamwork had one crown. With a whistle, the game began. Giggles erupted as the first few tosses sailed through the air. The girls took cautious steps backward after each successful catch, the distance growing. Some balloons popped quickly. Shrieks and splashes followed as teammates were drenched. But Group A played with quiet focus. Luna and Nadia tossed their balloon gently, eyes locked, hands steady. Their bright pink balloon flew in perfect arcs, caught like glass. Other pairs from Group A mirrored this calm style, soft tosses, careful hands, steady breath. One by one, Group B's balloons splattered into sandy explosions. A mist of water and laughter hung in the air, but Group A remained dry, graceful, and in sync. Finally, only Group A stood, balloons still intact. A cheer erupted as they held their arms high, not a drop on their shirts. With balance, control, and trust, they had soaked up the victory, without getting soaked themselves. Vinna, in no. Girls was too happy and saying, we win the game today. Group A began sketching a beach picnic scene with smiling faces and waves. It was charming, umbrellas, sandwiches, and even a sun wearing sunglasses. They worked in harmony, giggling and shading details with care. But over at Group B's spot, a different magic was unfolding. Leah began with outline of a mighty dragon, wings outstretched and eyes fierce. Maya scratched in mountains beneath it, while Zoya added a tiny knight with a sword and a castle nearby. Girls told their tale as they drew. A dragon guarding treasure, a brave girl confronting it, and a peaceful ending with shared friendship. Passers-by stopped to watch. Curves of wings, swirls of fire, and delicate scale patterns were full of detail. Even castle had windows and a flag flying at top. When time ended, judges circled both stories. Group A's was fun, but Group B's dragon tale stole show. Bold, imaginative, and beautifully told in every scratch. Cheers followed and girls smiled, proud of story they'd told through sand. Today game was amazing for me too. Group A began sketching a beach picnic scene with smiling faces and waves. It was charming, umbrellas, sandwiches, and even a sun wearing sunglasses. They worked in harmony, giggling and shading details with care. But over at Group B's spot, a different magic was unfolding. Leah began with an outline of a mighty dragon, wings outstretched and eyes fierce. Maya scratched in mountains beneath it, while Zoya added a tiny knight with a sword and a castle nearby. Girls told their tale as they drew, a dragon guarding treasure, a brave girl confronting it, and a peaceful ending with shared friendship. Passers-by stopped to watch, the ragans and dragon. Curves of wings, swirls of fire, and delicate scale patterns were full of detail. Even castle had windows and a flag flying at a top. When time ended, judges circled both stories. Group A's was fun, but Group B's dragon tales stole show. Bold, imaginative, and beautifully told in every scratch. Cheers followed and girls smiled, proud of story they'd told through sand. Beach buzzed with energy as cones marked makeshift goals, and a bright ball sat at centre. Excitement rose. It was time for a thrilling round of beach soccer. Both Group A and Group B lined up barefoot, grinning and ready to compete under sunny sky. At whistle, Group A jumped into action. Nadia glided past defenders, her movement swift even on shifting sand. She passed to Luna, waiting on right wing. Luna aimed and kicked clean. Goal! Group A led 1-0 and cheered. Group B responded fast. Zoya blocked a shot and passed to Leah, who fed ball forward. Maya took shot, 1-1, and match was tied again. Group A regrouped calmly. Their passes were precise, moving balls smoothly upfield. Nadia found Luna once more, who scored again, 2-1. Then, in a surprise moment, little Amna struck from midfield. Ball soared and landed in net, 3-1. Group B pushed till end, but couldn't break Group A's strong defence. As whistle blew, Group A celebrated their win. Their teamwork, smart play, and clean finishes had earned them victory. Group A, confident and smiling, and Group B, quiet but focused. It was time for fast hands and fierce rallies. Group A started strong, serving a sharp shot that bounced high. Leah from Group B reacted quickly and sent it back. Or as a tall, bleating the ball flew between teams, sharp taps, low dives and quick slaps. Right away, it became clear. Group B's reactions were quicker. Zoya stayed cool, returning every angle without missing a beat. Maya was fast and fearless, spiking and saving like a pro. Group A kept fighting, but their rhythm faltered. Become the few missteps cost them key points. One long rally had crowd cheering and flying, hands swinging, but Leah ended it with a clever soft tap that fell just out of reach. That moment shifted energy. With strong teamwork and precise hits, Group B built a solid lead. Group A gave it their best but couldn't recover gap. After a final clean spike, Group B won. Breathing hard but happy, Group A clapped and high-fived their rivals. Group B had earned victory with sharper reflexes and team coordination. It was time for three-legged race, and excitement pulsed through air. Group A and Group B lined up in teams of 2 and warm beneath their feet, sun glowing above. Whistle blew. Chaos erupted as some pairs stumbled in soft sand, arms flailing and legs tangled. But in the middle of pack, Group A's second pair, Nadia and Alina, moved like clockwork. Right, left, they chanted, their arms locked tightly around each other's backs. Their rhythm was perfect. While others fell into laughter or tripped over their tied ankles, Nadia and Alina kept going, sprinting in smooth unison. Their balance was sharp, their pace steady, and they began to pull ahead. Group B's lead pair gave a tough chase, gaining ground near finish. Crowd shouted, cheering for both sides. But Group A's middle pair didn't lose focus. They surged forward, feet pounding, and crossed finish line first with a burst of joy. As other pairs rolled into finish behind them, giggling and gasping for breath, everyone applauded. Beach became an exciting race zone. with cones, ropes, and markers set up for obstacle course challenge. Group A and Group B stood ready, cheering and laughing as whistle blew. First up, racers crawled under ropes and leapt over cones. Group A's Luna was quick and clean, followed by Nadia's steady hops. Group B responded fast. Zoya slid low, Leah leapt confidently, and Maya kept pace with strong focus. At Pail Push Station, Maya rolled it quickly across sand using her head, drawing cheers. Each member dashed, crawled, balanced or tossed in a flurry of action. With longer Ganna, Group and race grew intense as both teams remained neck and neck. Everyone gave their best through each obstacle: zigzags, softball dodges, bucket rolls and balancing tasks. In final stretch, last racers sprinted hard. With a burst of speed, Group B finished just 5 seconds ahead. Laughter echoed as teams flopped in sand, smiling and exhausted. It was fun, fast and fierce, and Group B's flawless rhythm won day. Group A stepped up with energy and focus, eager to learn and win. At first, everyone made mistakes, serves were missed and timing was off. But Group A quickly adapted. Luna observed opponents closely, spotting weaknesses. Nadia practiced soft, tricky shots, while Amna used gentle taps to send the ball just out of reach. Group B started strong with fast volleys, but they played aggressively. Group A, on the other hand, chose strategy over strength. They communicated quietly, signalled each other, and rotated smartly. With each round, Group A got better. Luna faked a spike and tapped instead. Nadia served into an empty square. Amna blocked a tough return with calm focus. They avoided risky shots and capitalised on Group B's rushed plays. In the final match, both teams were tied. One last serve flew. Group B hesitated and the ball dropped. Cheers broke out. Group A had claimed victory through quick learning, clever play, and true teamwork. Soft sand made every step harder, but that only added to fun. Group A took their positions to defend, while Group B stood ready, eyes gleaming with excitement. As whistle blew, game began with a burst of motion. Sand flew as players darted left and right. Zoya, from Group B, sprinted after Luna, nearly tagging her near waterline. Luna dodged just in time, kicking up water and giggling. But Group B wasn't backing off. Leah looped around, surprising Nadia with a quick tag. One by one, players fell to light taps, laughter following every catch. Group A tried zigzags, dives, and even hiding behind sandcastles, but Group B moved like a well-oiled machine. But Maya, nimble and focused, anticipated her move. With a quick burst of speed, Maya tagged Amna just inches before safe zone. Crowd cheered. Group B had tagged every player in record time, claiming win with energy, teamwork, and joy. Group A stepped forward, eyes on horizon. Water lapped at their feet, cool and inviting. First small wave rolled in. Emma, Zara and Talia jumped together light as feathers. Laughter rang out as they landed in sync, a clean start. Group B watched, waiting for their turn. But it was Group A's time to shine. With every wave they moved in harmony. Lena counted softly. Now, now. And girls followed, knees bent, arms raised, timing perfect. Some waves surprised them suddenly bigger or faster, but Group A adapted. They moved closer, held hands, and jumped together. Their unity kept them from stumbling. A crowd began to gather. Even beachgoers not part of game clapped along, impressed by their rhythm. Jump after jump, splash after splash. They never broke their pattern. The day started before sunrise, as the streets of Miami were still quiet and the air fresh with promise. We had been planning this beach day for weeks, and now it was finally here. A chance to bring together not only our own families, but also close friends, childhood classmates, and even office colleagues, all gathering to escape routine and enjoy a full day of sunshine, sea, and smiles. As the sky began to lighten with soft pink and golden shades, our cars pulled into the designated parking area near the wide Miami, Florida beach. The familiar scent of sea breeze and coconut sunscreen already filling the air, and one by one families stepped out of vehicles with sleepy kids holding toys and adults stretching out arms after the drive, yawning yet already grinning in anticipation of the fun ahead. Folding chairs, colourful beach umbrellas, baskets full of fruit, juice bottles, and freshly prepared breakfast sandwiches were unloaded as early birds in our group claimed a large spot on the sand, spreading mats and towels in a wide semicircle so everyone would have space to sit together. Kids, energized by the view of the ocean and the sound of gentle waves lapping against the shore, were the first to toss off their shoes and run barefoot toward the water, squealing as the cool sea splashed their ankles while they jumped over small waves and tried to chase seagulls flapping above them. Nearby, a few office team members began setting up a pop-up tent for shade, hammering it into the sand while cracking jokes about whose hammering skills were the worst, drawing laughs from others who were still unrolling picnic blankets and stacking board games in a corner. Old classmates gathered near the cooler, already reminiscing about school days, asking where everyone's kids were now, what they were doing, how much time had passed since they last saw each other, and although some faces had changed, the warmth hadn't. Memories of classroom antics, old crushes, and teachers' scoldings came, alive again as they pointed and laughed, like no time had passed at all. Soon the smell of warm croissants and cheesy egg muffins filled the air as someone passed around foil-wrapped breakfast items, along with steaming cups of coffee from a thermal dispenser, and we all sat in a wide circle, some chatting, some still half asleep but happy, some already filming videos of the sunrise or snapping family selfies with the golden beach background. The beach itself was peaceful at this hour. Only a few other early groups had arrived, so it felt like the space was all ours, a little private paradise glowing under a slowly brightening sky. A few parents helped toddlers build little sandcastles with tiny plastic shovels and buckets, while others walked hand in hand by the edge of the water, leaving pairs of footprints that disappeared seconds later in the wet sand. One of the older kids had brought a speaker, and soft background music now drifted through our area. Nothing too loud, just light. Beats that made people nod along, and made it feel even more like a celebration as more people arrived from our list. Some solo, some in groups. We welcome them with cheers, hugs, group growing bigger and colourful with every new face. Someone started blowing up giant inflatable toys, a flamingo, a donut, even a full-sized ride-on dolphin. Kids went wild, dragging them into shallow water, riding waves, giggling uncontrollably when they fell off, and splashed around only to climb right back up again. A small group of teenagers gathered nearby to play beach paddleball, while some of more athletic guys set up a net for volleyball, although it took longer than expected to untangle the net. Moment it was up, teams started forming, and soon the thud of volleyballs mixed with the music and laughter all around. On the other side, a group of office members spread out cards and started playing Uno under the shade, teasing each other like they weren't the same serious professionals who sat in meetings. Together just days before, now here they were, wearing shorts and sunglasses, letting go of work stress and soaking in the moment. Someone brought a drone and flew it overhead, capturing a sweeping view of our large happy group on the sand, the endless ocean in the background, and the sun now rising confidently in the blue sky, warming our skin and making everything shimmer. A couple of parents applied sunscreen to wriggling kids who just wanted to keep playing, but we all knew the sun would get stronger soon, so everyone took turns hydrating and cooling off under the umbrellas. It was around mid-morning when the first round of beach games began, and the children gathered excitedly as we organised sack races, shell collection challenges, and a mini treasure hunt where tiny bags of treats had been hidden under colourful flags poked into the sand. The giggles and shouts that followed were pure joy as kids sprinted from one flag to another, digging and squealing when they found a treat, bag or a surprise toy. The adults cheered them on, clapping and capturing videos to share with family later, while some joined in themselves, racing against children in the sack race and falling dramatically just to make the kids laugh. By the time the sun had climbed overhead and the sand had grown warm under our feet, we were ready for our first real meal of the day, early lunch, and everyone moved toward the picnic setup where paper plates and napkins were being handed out, and one of the classmates had brought homemade wraps with chicken and veggies, while another office friend had ordered a batch of mini burgers, and someone's mum had made rice with lentils and crispy fried onions, which everyone lined up to taste. Bottles of lemonade, apple juice and fizzy drinks were opened and passed around, and even though we had a lot of people, everyone shared freely, making sure the kids got their portions first, and joking about who was going back for seconds or thirds. After the meal, people rested, lying on towels with hats over their eyes, or simply watching the waves come and go, while kids played quietly with their toys or buried each other in the sand. The feeling was peaceful, calm, yet alive, full of energy and togetherness. And as we all lay there, full, happy and connected, we knew that this was only the beginning of what would be an unforgettable day. After lunch, with the sun shining brightly above and laughter still echoing softly from every direction, the beach began to feel even more alive as our group settled into the afternoon hours, stretching out, reapplying sunscreen, and pulling out chilled fruit cups, watermelon slices, and juice boxes for a cool-down treat, while a few parents read books under umbrellas and others chased toddlers waddling too close to the edge of the water. The music got a little louder now. Someone had made a shared playlist of everyone's favourite beach songs, and the upbeat tunes drifted cheerfully through the salty air as sand. The volleyball game resumed, with new teams and louder cheers. People jumping and diving with energy and spirit, even if they missed the ball. Laughing harder each time someone fell face first in the sand, or hit the ball the wrong way. And all around, you could see children running back and forth between their parents and the sea, arms full of shells, buckets half full of water, and stories tumbling out about who saw a crab or who found a pink shell shaped like a heart. One of the office colleagues brought out a giant parachute and called all the kids over, and within moments they were gathered in a circle, holding on to the edges, lifting it high, ducking under, making waves, tossing soft balls in the centre and squealing every time the bright colours swooshed above their heads like a giant bubble in the breeze. At the same time, a small table had been set up near the umbrellas, where an old classmate was leading an arts and crafts corner, letting kids design bracelets, decorate seashells with glitter glue, or draw on paper plates with beach-themed stencils, while the adults joined in too, carefully stringing beads or drawing sea turtles just for fun. And some even made name cards for each other, laughing about how their handwriting hadn't improved since school. A few adventurous people brought out paddleboards and took turns trying to balance while floating out just a little from shore. Kids cheering each time someone managed to stand up for more than 10 seconds, and shouting with delight every time someone fell off with a dramatic splash. Meanwhile, under a larger tent, a few people organised a trivia game, with teams divided by tablecloth colour, red mats versus blue mats, and began asking beach facts, funny riddles and personal memory questions like, who in this group once fell asleep during a Zoom meeting, which led to waves of laughter and playful accusations as people defended themselves or confessed with a sheepish grin. The kids who had grown tired after the parachute game lay curled on towels in the shade, eating ice lollies and sipping from juice pouches, their faces sticky, happy, while parents patted them gently, fanned them with paper plates, or adjusted towels into pillows so they could rest peacefully for a bit. Someone brought a Bluetooth mic, started a karaoke challenge, with first singers being surprisingly bold. An office friend sang a 90s pop song while dancing barefoot in the sand, and others quickly joined in, turning the quiet area near the chairs into a beachside stage where everyone clapped, laughed, sang along, and recorded videos to tease each other with later. While that went on, another group had set up a small limbo stick between two folding chairs and took turns dancing under it, with music playing, challenging each other to go lower and lower while cheering wildly for even the silliest attempts. When one of the old classmates in jeans managed to limbo perfectly to the ground, everyone erupted in applause, gave her a makeshift trophy made of a soda can and a seashell. Across the way, a small group of friends formed a meditation circle by the water, closing their eyes as one person guided a peaceful breathing exercise to calm down after all the excitement. And though most people laughed and waved at them, they finished feeling refreshed and smiling, joining back with renewed energy. Snack time returned as coolers opened again and someone handed out cups of yogurt. Fruit kebabs with pineapple and strawberries, and crispy chips with homemade salsa, while another person started serving iced tea and reminded everyone to keep drinking water because the sun, though beautiful, had grown warmer and everyone's cheeks were pink from all play and laughter. People took breaks under umbrellas, chatting quietly in groups, asking about each other's jobs, kids, hobbies, and sharing recent stories. Someone had just adopted a puppy. Another was moving to a new city. Someone else shared about starting a bakery. Business, and it felt like no matter how different everyone's lives were now, the sand beneath our feet and the waves in the distance made everything feel equal and easy again. A group of teens from our group organised a treasure map game, secretly drawing an X in the sand and hiding clues in bottles or under towels and chairs, then announcing it to the younger kids and pretending to be pirates with rolled-up paper hats and eye patches made from napkins, leading to an epic hunt that went from the umbrellas to the dunes and back, with clues that had silly rhymes like, "If you want your prize so sweet, look under where we rest our feet. Final reward being a box of gummy bears, chocolate coins that they divided and shared fairly, proud of their teamwork." Soon, some people began building an enormous sandcastle. Together, kids, adults, even a few hesitant office friends who claimed they were bad at it but ended up being the most serious about sculpting towers and tunnels using plastic spoons, soda cups to mould edges, and adding details like flags made of napkins and seashell windows. Everyone crouched low in the sand, focused and laughing, pointing out how their part was better or worse, and joking about who had the best technique. By mid-afternoon, the sky was deep blue, with only a few white clouds floating lazily above. The ocean sparkled with gentle waves, and the breeze made the flags flutter, and the sound of our group's joy feel like music to everyone nearby. And we knew this was one of those rare days where everything was just right. Good weather, good food, happy kids, relaxed adults, and the kind of moments that would live in our memory long after the sand had been shaken from our shoes and the sunburns had faded. As the afternoon stretched toward evening and the bright sunlight began to soften into a gentle golden hue, the atmosphere at the beach subtly changed from high-energy games to a more relaxed, magical feeling, as shadows grew longer and everyone's movements slowed just a little. Still joyful, but now tinged with the calm that comes when the sun begins its slow descent across the sky. The kids, slightly sun-tired, yet still full of spirit, gathered in small groups, building tiny forts and shapes in the sand, while some of the older children sat with their feet in the cool waves, sharing stories and giggling about inside jokes only they understood, their hands trailing through the water, as if they wanted to hold on to the day just a little longer. A few friends walked quietly along the shoreline, waves gently licking their ankles as they caught up on years of stories, talked about lost contact, remembered moments from school, weddings, jobs, moving houses, first loves, breakups, family joys and sadnesses. And through it all, the connection that had brought them back together now felt even stronger, like rediscovering a part of yourself you had forgotten but missed deeply. Nearby, Under the largest canopy, a small group of office colleagues set up a mini coffee station with travel mugs, light snacks, and small cups of mixed nuts, dates, cookies, offering everyone a little boost as they prepared for the evening activities, while a couple of thoughtful parents handed out warm towels to kids who had just come out of the water, shivering but smiling, teeth chattering and lips blue from hours of splashing. A few people who had brought guitars and a ukulele began tuning them, their gentle strums rising above the sound of the waves as others gathered around, pulling chairs closer and forming a circle, watching as one friend began singing a slow, familiar tune that seemed to float perfectly into the moment, the setting sun reflecting in the water like a golden mirror and casting soft pinks and oranges across the wide sky. Couples held hands and swayed. Kids leaned against parents' shoulders, and even the quietest people in the group seemed lost in the beauty of the song and the moment. And though no one said it out loud, we all felt it deep down. This was the kind of peace that could only be found with the right people at the right time in the right place. By now, a few of the dads and uncles had gone to the back parking area to fetch food from portable trolleys and back seats, carefully carrying covered trays of grilled chicken, kebabs, mixed salads, rolls, corn on the cob, pasta and dips, to the long table now set with paper plates, plastic cutlery, colourful napkins fluttering in the breeze. Someone announced dinner with a joyful shout, and the children were called first, lined up neatly as adults helped them fill their plates. Then everyone followed, chatting as they moved along the table, asking who brought what dish, what seasoning had been used, how long something had been marinated, and passing around drinks from cooler buckets filled with ice, handing each other cans of soda, water bottles, juice packs, and even a few mocktails made with fresh citrus and mint leaves. Once everyone had their food, people settled on beach towels, chairs, or directly on the sand, forming small clusters and eating together, sharing bites, laughing over dropped food, clinking plastic cups to celebrate friendship, family, rare joy of being together, with no pressure, no phones in hands, no rush to leave. Stories flowed freely now, funny office stories that made even the kids laugh, tales of past beach trips where everything went wrong turned out perfect anyway, stories about school teachers who had terrified them back then that seemed hilarious in hindsight, gentle teasing about who still remembered everyone's nicknames from childhood. As the sun lowered, further dipped halfway into the horizon, someone turned music volume down, called everyone toward the shoreline, where, all at once, we stood together, facing west, barefoot in the soft sand, holding hands or wrapping arms around shoulders, watched as the sun sank slowly into the ocean, leaving behind a glowing trail of light across the sky and water. That, facing, made everyone pause in silence, a beautiful hush falling over the group like a warm blanket, until the last edge of the sun disappeared and someone whispered softly, "Wow," which broke the silence into claps and smiles and sighs of awe. With night beginning to take over, a few of the teens and older boys began setting up the bonfire pit, using the fire-safe tools we had brought along, flat metal trays, safe fuel blocks, and long sticks for roasting marshmallows, while others helped place camping lanterns and fairy lights around the area, draping them on umbrellas, chairs, and tent edges, so the darkness came gently, full of twinkling light instead of shadows. As fire began to crackle and flicker, sending warm golden light dancing across everyone's faces, the group gathered closer, sitting cross-legged or cuddled under blankets, as kids roasted marshmallows, carefully holding long skewers while giggling each time one caught fire and someone had to blow it out quickly, or when a gooey roasted marshmallow stuck to their fingers and someone ran around offering wet wipes. Adults shared cups of warm tea and coffee now, the cooler air wrapping around our legs as we shifted closer to the fire, and the guitar music returned, slower now, more nostalgic, with voices joining in softly for old songs, love songs, silly songs that kids danced to, and even a few emotional melodies that made people pause, remembering things they hadn't thought of in months. One of the oldest classmates stood up and gave a small, sweet speech thanking everyone for coming, saying how proud he was to be part of a group that still remembered to enjoy life together, and how important it was not to wait for weddings or sad news to gather, but to create days like this, where the only reason to meet was love, fun, and sunshine. Each one clapped, not loudly, but sincerely, touched by the truth of those simple words. By now the kids had begun to curl up under towels and jackets, some falling asleep on their parents' laps, some lying on beach mats looking at the stars that were now blinking across the sky, trying to count them or point out shapes like dolphins and hearts and letters of their names. Older ones played one last game of charades near the fire, acting out movie names, while everyone shouted guesses, laughed so hard their eyes watered. And those not playing watched happily, their hearts full and their faces glowing in the firelight. Someone brought out a thermos of homemade hot chocolate and handed it around with small cups, each sip warm and sweet, and full of the kind of comfort only memories and friendship can bring. And just as the fire began to die down to soft, glowing embers, someone lit a few safe, handheld sparklers, and everyone, kids and adults, held them high, waving light through the night like little stars we could hold in our hands, each spark a tiny celebration of the perfect day we had shared. As the final sparks of the sparklers faded into the night, and the fire crackled low, flickering softly like a tired heart after a day full of love and laughter, the beach began to quiet down in the most peaceful way, the ocean's steady rhythm blending with the last murmurs of conversation, tired giggles from children who had somehow managed to stay awake, occasional sound of a camera clicking to capture one more memory before it was time to say goodbye. Parents began gently nudging their sleeping toddlers awake, brushing sand off arms and cheeks, carefully wrapping them in warm towels or hoodies, whispering promises of ice cream on the way home, if they just let their sandals be put on without fuss. While some older kids, still determined not to leave, clung to their friends and asked if they could have just 10 more minutes to sit by the water, to feel the night air on their skin and hear the sea talk to them in that soothing, secret way only children seem to understand. Some people began quietly folding chairs, shaking out blankets and towels, brushing off crumbs, while others walked slowly around, saying thank you to those who had cooked, brought supplies, organised games, or simply showed up with smiles and warmth that helped make the day so full and complete. One by one, fairy lights were gently taken down, carefully wrapped to avoid tangling, and placed back into totes and bags, while empty juice bottles and snack wrappers were packed into garbage bags by the few people who always take care of the cleaning without being asked, moving through the sand like gentle beach fairies, restoring the beauty of the space as they worked. The bonfire, now a bed of warm orange embers, was doused safely with water from a cooler jug, and we watched the steam rise like a soft ghost of the joyful day we had shared, fading into the night as surely as the last rays of sunlight had hours earlier. People gathered near the cars now, some of which had already been packed by the more organised families, while others laughed at the puzzle of fitting all the beach gear. Deflated floaties, coolers, backpacks, umbrellas and sandy shoes into backseats and trunks, somehow managing it all while still keeping youngest kids asleep and the rest from wandering too far. A few friends who hadn't seen each other in years exchanged phone numbers again, even though they already had them, just for comfort of doing it freshly, promising to meet again soon, maybe next month, maybe at someone's birthday, maybe back at this very beach. Hugs were longer now, tighter, some accompanied by whispered jokes, others with a soft pat on the back, and a deep breath, as if holding in tears of joy, because goodbyes after a perfect day always carry a bit of gentle sadness, not because the fun is ending, but because the time had been so precious that parting from it feels like leaving behind something sacred. Some office colleagues walked together toward the parking lot, chatting about how strange and wonderful it was to spend the day as real people, away from spreadsheets, deadlines, meeting rooms, talking instead about favourite fruits, travel dreams, music, childhood fears of ocean. How much more human everyone felt now, how much warmer, how that might make Monday mornings feel a little less cold in future. Others walked in pairs, quietly, their feet brushing against wet edge of sand as they moved slowly one last time by ocean, stars bright above, moon casting a silver trail across water, beach stretching peacefully in both directions, dotted only with the shadows of last few families heading home. Someone suggested taking one last group photo. Though people were tired, they agreed, gathering quickly. Some crouching in front, some standing behind, lifting sleepy kids into their arms or sitting them on shoulders, holding up peace signs, making heart shapes with hands, or simply smiling big wide smiles that showed every tooth. As the camera clicked with a soft beep, everyone shouted one last cheerful, "Beach Day!" that rang out into night and echoed gently before, fading into soft roar of the waves. After photo, goodbyes came quicker. People waving from windows, calling out last thank yous and safe travels. Tail lights blinking like tiny fireflies, as cars rolled slowly out of lot and back onto quiet roads that led home. Back to everyday life, but now forever changed by the beauty and joy of day just lived inside cars. Kids leaned against windows, still sticky from marshmallows and red popsicles, watching dark world pass by while parents drove with soft music playing and tired but happy smiles on their faces. Some whispering about how well everything had gone, how rare it was to have a day where everyone, from toddlers to teens, from office friends to school buddies, got along, laughed, played, and ate like a giant family, with no tension, no stress, just simple happiness, stretched from sunrise to starlight. In those late-night drives, some kids fell asleep still holding shells in their small hands, or clutching tiny plastic beach toys, like treasure, while adults silently promised themselves they'd print the photos, write thank you messages, keep in touch more often, and do this again before another whole year passed. Back at home, shoes were kicked off at the door, sandy socks tossed into baskets, coolers unpacked and leftover fruits stored in fridges, while quiet crept in. But the memories stayed loud in everyone's minds. The first splash in the morning sea, the games, the songs, the shared food, the laughter under umbrellas, the kids dancing with sparklers, the stories by firelight, and the group photo where no one was missing and everyone was smiling. And as tired bodies slid under clean sheets, a soft layer of sand still clinging to ankles and hair, smelling faintly of the sea, dreams came easy and full, with echoes of waves and music playing in the background. The kind of deep, happy dreams that only come after a perfect day lived fully, together, on the beach, from sunrise to sunset and into the warm, glowing night. In the days that followed our beach day, as the sun continued to rise and set over Miami like it always had, something small but beautiful stayed with each of us, like a secret smile tucked inside the heart, something that made Monday mornings feel lighter, school runs feel less rushed, and even busy office hours feel warmer. As photos began circulating through the group chat, candid shots of kids mid-laugh, videos of people dancing barefoot, Close-ups of grilled food with captions like, "Who made this again?" And wide-angle photos of our full group watching the sunset like a family joined by joy instead of blood. And every time one popped up, someone would reply with hearts, laughter emojis, or soft, "Miss this already" messages that made it clear how special the day had been and how no one wanted it to end just yet. Parents told stories to relatives and co-workers about how the kids played all day without screen time, how they made new friends or learned to fly a kite for the first time. While children themselves brought up beach at every chance, drawing it at school, asking when we could go back, or naming their sandcastle Kingdom of Friends because it was built by so many happy at work. People passed each other in hallways and smiled wider than usual, remembering the volleyball games, jokes shared while preparing food, or surprising duet two shy colleagues sang together at beach karaoke. Those moments softened meetings, made projects feel less heavy. Classmates who hadn't talked in years now messaged daily, tagging each other in posts about beach hacks, fun recipes, or family-friendly games, already tossing ideas for next get-together, like beachside brunches, themed dress codes, or maybe even a camping night right there near waves. If allowed, one of younger boys from group had written an essay at school titled "Best Day Ever," and in it he described how everyone shared, helped each other, reminded us that joy, when shared freely, has power to turn strangers into friends. And friends into something even stronger. And now, every time someone felt tired, or stressed, or lonely, they'd open that shared album of beach photos and scroll slowly, letting the golden light, sandy toes, and glowing smiles wash over them like waves. Gentle reminders of how beautiful simple moments can be when we pause long enough to notice. Planning began again, almost naturally. Someone suggested we mark our calendars every 3 months for a seasonal gathering. Another offered to find more beaches nearby that were quiet and clean. And soon a spreadsheet was created, with columns for food, games, carpool, extra towels, music playlists, and even sunscreen, so no one forgot again. Kids made lists of what to bring next time: bubble guns, new kites, inflatable crocodiles, fairy lights in different colours. And a group of teens volunteered to make a short documentary-style video from the footage we had, pairing clips with gentle music and adding captions like "Magic Moments" or "Our Beach Family." When the final video played on a shared group video call one evening, everyone sat with their screens glowing, some teary-eyed, some laughing so hard they fell off couches, and all feeling connected in a way no social media post or fancy outing had ever managed to do. The beach had simply given us space, space to laugh, space to remember, space to forget worries, and space to connect without needing reasons or rules. And that was the real magic of it. We began imagining what the next trip could include. A treasure hunt for grown-ups too, a mini talent show by the water, sunset yoga with mats in a circle, storytelling circles with flashlights, maybe even a memory jar where each person wrote one beautiful moment and dropped it in for someone else to read at night. Ideas flowed endlessly, because when joy is real, it wants to grow, to spread, to be shared again and again. And our beach day had planted something deep in all of us, not just memories, but hope, imagination, and the reminder that even in a fast world, there are places where time slows down and people remember how to be happy. Together group grew closer, even off the beach, inviting each other for dinners, sending help when someone was sick, celebrating small wins like job interviews, new pets, baby steps, birthdays. Because one shared day under sun had shown us how little it takes to create something big, something lasting, something beautiful. We realized we didn't need fancy resorts or long flights or 5-star meals. Just a stretch of sand, an open heart, the people who matter, showing up with their true selves, ready to laugh, play, be present. And now, when people ask what makes us happy, we don't talk about vacations or money. We talk about that day when we all met on the beach. Just regular people with busy lives and different stories who came together to make one perfect memory that would never fade.
And who promised, silently or aloud, that this was just the beginning. Because the beach is still there.
Waves still call. We are now more than just friends. We are a beach family, forever woven together by sunshine, salt water, simplest kind of joy that only grows stronger each time we meet again. Weeks turned into months, though everyone had returned to their regular routines. Schools reopened, offices buzzed again, holidays came and went. Memory of that beach day never faded, and it only took one spark, one message in the group chat saying, "Should we do it again?" to bring the whole idea back to life. From that moment, the energy returned like a wave crashing softly but strongly into all of us, lifting spirits, igniting new excitement, and setting hearts into motion as we began to plan the return trip. Not just another beach day, but a celebration, a mini festival of our own where old moments would meet new magic and everyone would have something to look forward to. The kids were the most excited, immediately drawing up colourful Beach Day 2 posters with crayon suns, stick figures flying kites, waves with smiling fish. While adults quietly carved out vacation days, made grocery lists, began collecting decorations, water toys, musical instruments to make this day even more memorable than the first one. Family offered to design T-shirts for everyone. Soon, messages flew back and forth about colours, slogans, eventually deciding on sunny yellow shirts with a little shell logo and the words "Together Again at the Beach" written in playful, wavy letters. When the shirts finally arrived in a big, cheerful box, it felt like receiving an invitation to joy. The date was set, carpools were organised, everyone pitched in for food and supplies, and by the time the day arrived, excitement was as bright as the Miami sky itself. With early morning sunlight pouring across the city like a promise, and our convoy of cars headed once again toward the soft sand, familiar waves, and now familiar joy of being together. With nothing but the whole day ahead of us, this time, arrival felt like a homecoming. Hugs were tighter, laughter came quicker, and there was no need for introductions or icebreakers because we were already family in spirit. Our beach family. Stronger than before. And as we unloaded bags, coolers, kites, tents and folding tables, someone strung colourful bunting between two umbrellas and added a homemade sign that read, "Welcome back, Beach Tribe," and everyone cheered as if we had arrived at a long-awaited reunion, which, in every way, we had. The children ran to the waves again, familiar with the rhythm now, calling each other's names, chasing foam, squealing at the cold splash of water. And adults settled into comfortable patterns, some setting up games, others arranging fruit platters and picnic spreads, a few walking the shoreline with hot coffee in hand and eyes soft with contentment. What made this day different was the little surprises everyone had prepared. One group brought mini flags for a beach country scavenger hunt, where kids had to find clues buried near items from different nations, from a tiny Eiffel Tower statue in the sand to a sushi keychain hidden under a shell. And at the end, they were awarded beach medals made of ribbon and cardboard stars. Another surprise was a mini beach stage, set up with bamboo poles, a curtain made of cloth-spinned beach towels, and a wooden sign saying "Talent Splash," where people could perform whatever they wanted, jokes, poems, silly dances, songs, and even magic tricks involving seashells and coloured scarves. And the show was so funny and heartwarming that everyone stopped what they were doing to sit cross-legged on the sand and clap like kids at a school performance, shouting names and encouraging everyone, no matter how shy or silly their act was. One of the teens turned the beach into a photo booth area, using a large cardboard frame decorated with glitter and shells, and people posed inside it, making heart hands, peace signs, dramatic beach poses, or simply leaning into each other with cheeks touching and smiles stretching wide. The camera flashes capturing a happiness that didn't need filters or edits to shine as noon rolled around, a gentle breeze swept through, and kites were brought out this time with more variety. Butterfly shapes, superheroes, dolphins, and even a giant smiling sun. And the sight of colourful kites dancing in blue sky made everyone pause and look up in awe, young and old alike, because there's something about a kite soaring that feels like a piece of your own hope flying freely. Above world food came next. This time it was a true feast, an international potluck of flavours and love, with homemade empanadas, spicy noodles, grilled chicken, fruit salads, sandwiches cut into shapes, lemonade with mint lemon slices floating like art, even small paper flags to label who made what, making it feel like a food festival under the sun. People ate and shared and complimented each other endlessly, some joking about trading recipes only if they got an extra plate first. Laughter filled the air again like it had last time, but louder, fuller, more rooted in connection now. After lunch, games continued, relay races, beach bingo, water balloon tosses that turned into a hilarious splash battle, even a tug of war where the rope broke mid-pull and everyone fell into the sand, breathless with joy. But the quiet moments mattered too. Grandparents sitting with little ones, teaching them to draw letters in the sand. Friends lying shoulder to shoulder on towels, just watching the clouds float lazily above. Someone playing soft music on a speaker, while others sat quietly, letting the sound and sea soak into their bones. As the afternoon turned to evening and the sun began its golden descent once again, someone whispered, "This is the best day of my life." Everyone nearby nodded, because they felt the same. It wasn't about big fireworks or huge events. It was about the tiny details, the way kids held hands while jumping into waves, the way strangers had become family, the way even shyest person stood on that beach stage and sang without fear, because here they were safe, loved, seen. Group formed a giant circle on sand to watch sunset, and this time everyone had sparklers in hand, unlit until very moment sun touches ocean's edge. When it did, a quiet countdown began. 10, 9, 8, and as last sliver of sun dipped below water, sparklers were lit and raised high, a circle of glowing light around smiling faces, and the sky above us lit with stars as if the universe was joining our celebration. The night continued with gentle music, dancing in the sand, slow group walks by moonlight, children dozing in beach chairs, and adults talking quietly about life, love, plans, and the simple truth that what we had created was rare and sacred and needed to be protected, repeated, shared with more people who needed a little magic in their lives. And as we packed up once again, slower this time, reluctant to leave, already nostalgic for a moment not yet fully gone. Promise this wouldn't be the end, because it wasn't just a return to beach. It was a return to ourselves, to joy, to togetherness, to a world where fun is free, kindness is everywhere. Everyone, no matter their age, job, background or story, can find a home in the sound of the waves and the warmth of a shared laugh on the soft golden sand. From the very beginning of that beach day, little Mina had known something magical was going to happen. Not the kind of magic you find in fairy tales with castles and dragons, but the kind that fills your chest when the sun touches your face and your toes wiggle in soft, warm sand, and everything around you feels like it's glowing. And as soon as her mother helped her step out of the car and put on her pink sun hat with the floppy rim and shiny sunglasses that made her feel like a beach queen, Mina ran forward with tiny feet kicking up dust and shouted to the sky, "I'm here, beach!" as if the ocean itself had been waiting just for her. And maybe it had, because the way the waves waved and breeze blew her ponytail back felt like a hug from nature. And as she looked around and saw all her favourite grown-ups laughing and setting up umbrellas, and her favourite big kids rolling out mats blowing up floaties shaped like donuts and flamingos, she knew the day would be perfect. First, she ran toward the sandcastle zone, where her friend Zara was already digging a giant hole with her red shovel, and they squealed and jumped and called over other kids until there were 5, then 7, then 10 of them working together like a little beach construction team, building towers with moats and bridges made of sticks and shells and flags made from leaves, and someone's dad even helped pour water into the moat so it looked like a real castle from a movie. And when a wave came and almost took it all away, the kids screamed, "No!" in unison, and then laughed so hard they fell over and got sand in their mouths, which tasted yucky but made the moment even funnier. The way the waves waved and breeze blew her ponytail back felt like a hug from nature. And as she looked around and saw all her favourite grown-ups laughing and setting up umbrellas, and her favourite big kids rolling out mats blowing up floaties shaped like donuts and flamingos, she knew the day would be perfect. First, she ran toward the sandcastle zone, where her friend Zara was already digging a giant hole with her red shovel, and they squealed and jumped and called over other kids until there were 5, then 7, then 10 of them working together like a little beach construction team, building towers with moats and bridges made of sticks and shells and flags made from leaves, and someone's dad even helped pour water into the moat so it looked like a real castle from a movie. And when a wave came and almost took it all away, the kids screamed, "No!" in unison, and then laughed so hard they fell over and got sand in their mouths, which tasted yucky but made the moment even funnier. Later, Mina's older cousin, Sam, took her kite out, the one shaped like a rainbow butterfly, and helped her hold the string while the wind tugged it higher and higher, until Mina felt like she was flying too, holding tight and shouting, "Fly, butterfly, fly," while jumping up and down, and other kids gathered around, cheering like it was a rocket launch. And in that moment, Mina thought, this is the best toy ever, even better than her tablet or the sparkly dolls at home. After flying the kite, she saw some of the older girls dancing near the mini-stage, their feet tapping the sand, skirts swishing, and laughter floating like music in the air. And she tiptoed closer, a little nervous. But one girl named Layla bent down and held her hand and said, "Wanna dance with us?" And suddenly Mina was spinning and twirling and clapping her hands with everyone, and she felt like a princess at a beach ball. And when they all froze like statues at the end of a song, she couldn't stop giggling because her statue pose was with one leg up and her tongue out, and it made everyone else laugh too. At lunchtime, She sat on her towel with her parents and her new friend Jamal, eating watermelon cubes and triangle sandwiches and tiny cheese balls, while sipping cold juice with a bendy straw, and every bite tasted extra good because she was eating outside and didn't have to sit at a table or say "excuse me" every time she needed to run, play again in afternoon. She joined the treasure hunt, where they had to follow a map drawn on brown paper with a big red X near the lifeguard tower, and they looked under shells, behind rocks, and even in the shallow tide pools until they found a plastic box filled with chocolate coins and stickers. And Mina screamed with joy and danced around shouting, "We're rich!" while holding up her gold coin, which melted in her hand because she forgot it was chocolate and held it too long. But she didn't mind because even melted chocolate tastes yummy, especially at beach. Later, she got to be in the talent show, and though she was shy at first and held tight to her mum's legs, when it was her turn, her mum whispered, "Just sing your ABCs like you do at home." So Mina stood on the towel stage, took a deep breath, and sang her ABCs with one hand on her hip and one hand in the air like a pop star. And when she finished, the claps and cheers were so big and loud, she felt like a superstar. Someone even gave her a sparkly sticker as a prize, which she stuck on her cheek and wore proudly all evening. When the sun started to go down, she sat wrapped in a big towel on her daddy's lap, sipping warm cocoa and watching sky turn orange and pink. And someone handed her a sparkler, and she gasped when it lit up like fairy dust and crackled in her hand, while everyone made circles and hearts in the air with theirs. And she whispered, "I love the beach," not to anyone in particular, but to the sky itself, as if she was thanking the whole world for the day she just had. And as she got sleepier and her head leaned on her daddy's shoulder, she could still hear the waves, the music, the gentle laughter of grown-ups talking about life, and the tiny giggles of kids still running in the sand. And just before she drifted off, she whispered, "Can we come every week?" And though she was already half asleep, she heard her mum softly say, "As many times as you want, sweetheart." And that was the last thing she remembered before dreaming of kites, castles, and rainbow butterflies dancing above the ocean. Just when everyone thought the day couldn't get any more special, as the golden sun began to dip low over the ocean and paint the sky in deep orange and soft lavender, a quiet buzz started spreading through the group, especially among the office members and a few of the older friends, who kept whispering and looking at each other with playful grins. And little by little, someone pulled out a folded table. Another person opened a cooler full of colourful balloons. A few classmates sneakily set up a long banner behind the big beach umbrella. And then, with a loud, cheerful shout, everyone yelled, "Happy birthday, Auntie Farah!" And a big cheer rose in the air as the surprise was finally revealed for the kind-hearted office team leader and old college classmate who always remembered everyone else's birthdays, but never expected anything for herself. And her face lit up brighter than the setting sun as she clapped both hands over her mouth in shock, and tears shimmered in her eyes as she walked slowly towards the setup, where a small white beach-themed cake with seashell icing and a fondant surfboard sat in the middle of a table decorated with tiny candles, string lights powered by a battery pack, paper flowers made by kids. One of older boys began playing the birthday song on his ukulele while everyone clapped, sang together. Someone else handed her a crown made of tiny seashells and fresh flowers, which she laughed and wore proudly, while everyone shouted, "Speech! Speech!" And she raised one hand and said, "I've never been this surprised in my whole life, and I've never felt this loved on the beach. Thank you, all of you, my family, in every way." And the clapping didn't stop for a full minute, as people hugged her one after the other. And then came the games, the beach piñata shaped like a dolphin that burst open with candies and confetti when the birthday girl swung the bat with her eyes closed, and everyone laughed as they scrambled to collect treats. even the grown-ups, some crawling in the sand like kids just to grab a chocolate coin or chewy lollipop. And then there was the Guess the Memory game, where people told short stories about Farah from their school, work, or holiday trips, and she had to guess who said it. And every right guess got her a tiny prize, like sunglasses or a bracelet. And every wrong guess got her a joke dare, like singing a line from a song or dancing on one foot. And even she laughed so hard that she wiped tears off her cheeks with the edge of her scarf, while her best friend filmed every second on her phone, promising to turn it into a memory video for her birthday gift. And after all the fun, everyone gathered around the bonfire again, this time with birthday cupcakes, fruit skewers, hot cocoa for the kids, and tiny glass bottles of sparkling juice for the adults, as someone played soft music on a speaker and a few people hummed along while sitting on blankets, sharing stories, rubbing tired shoulders, watching the birthday girl laugh and chat and glow with joy like the queen of the beach, and even the stars seemed to blink down extra brightly just for her. And when the clock ticked past 10 and little kids began yawning and curling up in their parents' laps, and the older teens sat staring at the waves, talking about dreams and favourite movies and future travel plans, Farah took a deep breath, looked around at the sandcastle ruins, the scattered toys, the sleepy giggles, the flickering light of the fire, and said, "If I could live today again and again, like a loop, I would." And everyone nodded because they felt the same in their hearts, that something about this beach day was more than sand and sea. It was made of moments of people, of love stitched quietly into the salty breeze. And as the last sparkler fizzed out, and the waves rolled on gently in the dark, the surprise birthday had not just made one person feel special, but had wrapped every single soul in the warmth of togetherness that only comes when people show up for each other with full hearts and joyful spirit. After the laughter from the birthday surprise slowly melted into soft smiles and calm conversations, and the gentle night breeze began carrying the faint smell of salty seaweed and warm marshmallows, most of the group moved closer together around the crackling bonfire, sitting on colourful blankets and low beach chairs, wrapping themselves in towels and jackets, while holding warm mugs or bottles of juice, if trying to hold on to every piece of comfort the beach could offer that night. And above them, the sky had turned deep navy blue, sprinkled with hundreds of silver stars that looked like someone had gently shaken glitter across a velvet curtain. And the younger kids, though drowsy-eyed, pointed at constellations, while the teens used apps to spot planets, and the adults shared simple facts and old myths. Someone said the brightest star meant a wish would come true, and suddenly people began quietly sharing wishes. One wished for a big family holiday, another whispered that they hoped to get better from an illness, a child hoped their puppy would come home, and someone laughed and said they wished for more days exactly like this. And no one laughed at anyone, because even the silliest or quietest wish felt important under that sky. And as the waves whispered behind them, and the flames glowed softly in everyone's cheeks, one of the old classmates, who had become a teacher, pulled out a set of glow-in-the-dark stones she had brought and handed them to the kids to place in a wide circle around the fire, making it look like a galaxy right there on the sand. And then came the stories. Not just about school or work, but about old crushes, silly things they did in college, scary beach trips from years ago, and even secrets never said before, like how one friend almost moved away forever but changed their mind at the last moment, or how another quietly helped someone during hard times without anyone ever knowing. And with each story, the night felt softer, like a blanket made of trust and kindness. And even though the fire was slowly dying, and people started leaning on each other's shoulders, stretching out their legs, or lying down to stare at the sky in peace, no one wanted to leave. Not yet, because something magical was happening. Kind of magic that doesn't flash with fireworks or glitter, but glows gently from real smiles, shared glances, and peaceful hearts. Beach, silent. Their shoes now filled with sand, and their hearts full of warmth. And as the doors clicked shut, and the engine softly started, the road lit only by the yellow glow of the streetlights, it felt like everyone was floating through the night, calm and quiet. Like the beach waves were still singing inside their minds, and in one car, a little girl rested her head against her mother's arm and whispered, "That was the best day ever," before falling asleep with a smile. While in another car, two friends sat in silence, watching the blinking lights of the rearview mirror, thinking about how lucky they were to meet again after so many years and still feel like no time had passed. And in the back seat, someone quietly scrolled through pictures on their phone, smiling at the funny faces, the messy hair, the perfect sandcastles, and the birthday surprise, while in the front, their friend softly hummed the same beach song from earlier, their fingers tapping gently on the steering wheel. And no one rushed, no one argued, no one looked at the clock, because it didn't matter what time it was when your heart was this full. And when they reached their homes, one by one, the soft sounds of doors opening and goodbyes whispered in the dark, like promises to meet again soon, and the smell of beach still clung to their clothes and their bags and their skin, like a memory that didn't want to leave. And even as they laid their heads down on soft pillows, many still wearing their swimsuits under pajamas or sandy socks on their feet, they could still hear the waves in their dreams, see the laughter in their minds, and feel the simple, powerful joy of a day spent in sunshine, sea breeze, love, and light. And though the beach was far behind them now, it had somehow come home with them, in their shoes, in their phones, in their hearts, and most of all, in the quiet knowing that one beautiful day can live forever if shared with the right people. Best day ever. Still thinking about that grilled corn, and even a sleepy selfie of someone holding a toddler who had fallen asleep in mid-sentence last night, and as homes filled with breakfast smells and sleepy yawns, memories felt like a gentle blanket still wrapped around everyone, and in one home a little boy sat cross-legged on the floor with his crayons, drawing a huge sun with orange fire around it, and a beach with stick people holding hands, while in another two sisters used glue to stick real shells onto a picture of waves, adding hearts and stars in the sky. And in yet another house, a young girl called her grandma and told her every single thing from start to finish, from splash fights to marshmallows to ways stars came out right after surprise birthday cake. And Grandma listened with happy tears, saying she wished she could have been her, and girl promised to take her next time. And that morning was filled not with rush or noise, but with gentle retelling of beach day, some by photos, some by people hair drawings, some by words, and some just by sitting in silence and remembering way ocean felt, laughter sounded, warm sun kissed our skin, and way people I love were all together in one place, without a single reason to hurry or worry. And as clocks moved forward and Sunday slowly grew brighter, one of office friends sent a message in a group chat, "We should plan an all beach day before summer ends." And just like that, hearts lifted again, replies poured in with, "Yes, count me in. Let's bring more juice this time, and can my cousin join too?" And even though beach was now behind me, joy of it was ahead again, waiting in form of new plans, fresh ideas, more laughter to come. Because once you share one perfect beach day with people you love, kids, friends, office buddies, or old classmates, it becomes not just a memory, but a seed planted in every heart, ready to grow again into more sunny days, more sea breeze, and more smiles that feel like sunshine inside a soul. Day slowly moved from a peaceful morning into a sunny afternoon. Group chat that had been quiet for a few hours suddenly came alive with cheerful beeps and bubbly notifications, and one of friends, who always loved organising things, created a poll in group with a big question that made everyone smile. when shall we go to the beach again? Followed by happy emoji and 4 different weekend options. And just like that, planning began again, as if beach had sent a soft message into everyone's heart saying, come back soon. And within minutes, votes started pouring in, with some picking last weekend of month or suggesting a weekday picnic, and someone even saying, let's make it an overnight camp this time, which got lots of heart and fire emojis, and excitement bubbled all over again, like soda fizzing to the top of a bottle. And while adults typed out suggestions about what food to bring or which games to include next time, kids also got involved. One child asked her parent to text in the group, can we bring water balloons this time, please? And Noor sent voice message singing made-up beach song, and boy muddu e, old classmates, now closer than ever after years apart, started sharing new snack recipes and laughing over who danced boy muddu funniest last time, while boy muddu office members discussed making matching t-shirts or hats for boy muddu next trip, and joked that boy muddu manager had secretly enjoyed boy muddu volleyball loss more than anyone expected. And someone even created a shared folder online where everyone could upload boy muddu beach photos and videos, adding titles like Best Splash Shot, Funniest Sunburn Face, and Marshmallow Champions, and soon enough people began offering extra beach umbrellas, foldable chairs, and even big speakers for music. And one quiet friend said softly, I'll bring some books for anyone who just wants to lie back and relax, which made everyone send smiley faces, and plans started forming in happy pieces. Someone would take care of boy muddu drinks, and Noor would bring paper plates and wipes, and someone else would look up sunset. There are few sights in nature as soul-stirring and unforgettable as witnessing a sunrise or sunset at the beach. The beach itself is already a place where time seems to slow down. The rhythmic crashing of waves, the salty breeze gently brushing your skin, and the endless horizon that draws your eyes and thoughts far away from the noise of daily life. But when the sun begins to rise or sink into that horizon, something magical happens. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The beach transforms into a theatre of light and feeling, where every colour in the sky paints a new emotion across the canvas of your heart. In the early morning, when the world still sleeps and the air is crisp with a hint of dew, a beach sunrise feels like a private conversation with the universe. You step barefoot onto the cool sand, feeling its texture between your toes, soft and grainy. There's a sense of peace, of promise, of beginnings. The sky is still deep blue, dark at the edges, slowly giving way to hues of purple, lavender and soft orange. As the minutes pass, the clouds catch fire with golden edges, and suddenly, a sliver of sunlight peeks from beneath the horizon. That first burst of light is like a silent fanfare. It doesn't make a sound, but it says everything. Today is new, fresh, waiting to be lived. The world slowly comes alive around you. Birds begin to stir, some flying low across the water, others calling out softly from palm trees or rocks. Tiny crabs emerge from holes in the sand, dancing sideways as if to greet the dawn. The ocean reflects the sky in rippling shades of pink, gold and soft peach. Everything is quiet, yet full of life. That's the beauty of a beach sunrise. It carries hope. It reminds you that no matter how dark the night, the sun will rise again. For many, watching the sunrise is a healing ritual. It's a time for reflection, meditation, deep breaths, unwhispered prayers. In that quiet hour, many find clarity, inspiration, and a sense of grounding. Now imagine the other end of the day. Sunset at the beach. This is a different kind of beauty. If sunrise is the promise of a beginning, sunset is the graceful bow at the end of a story well told. The mood is more golden, more mellow, more introspective. The beach is still alive, often busier, with people winding down, lovers walking hand in hand, children building sandcastles for the last time before they're claimed by the tide. The sun, now lower in the sky, casts long shadows and turns everything it touches into gold. The waves shimmer and the water glows like molten metal. The sky begins its descent into drama. From light blue, it transforms to burnt orange, deep pink, and finally, rich purple. The sun becomes a brilliant orb, slowly lowering itself into the sea. There's a moment, right before it disappears, when the world seems to hold its breath. Everything stops. Then, in an instant, it vanishes, leaving behind a trail of amber light on the ocean's surface and a sky that lingers in colour, refusing to let go. People applaud sunsets. They take photos, sit silently, or close their eyes to feel it. It's not just beautiful, it's emotional. Sunsets speak to the soul. They remind us of the day's fragility, its fleeting beauty, and how lucky we are to have experienced it. Sunsets at the beach also have a romantic energy. Couples often choose this time for beach walks, proposal moments, or quiet reflection together. It's a time when hearts open up more easily, when words are softer, and when shared silences feel more meaningful. The world feels warmer even as the sun sets. The glow stays with you, on your skin, in your eyes, and most of all, in your memory. Whether you choose sunrise or sunset, the beach amplifies the moment. The openness of the ocean, the dance of light on water, the ever-changing sky, and grounding presence of the sand beneath your feet. All of it combines to create a perfect harmony of nature's most poetic elements. It's why artists paint it, poets write about it, and travellers seek it. These moments are universal, shared by people across continents and cultures, yet they always feel deeply personal. Everyone who stands at the beach during a sunrise or sunset is seeing the same sun, the same sky, but feeling something uniquely their own. And then there are those magical times when clouds appear, adding even more texture to the sky. Puffy white clouds catch the light in stunning layers, while streaky wisps stretch like brushstrokes across the horizon. On certain days, the sky seems to burn with fire, deep reds and rich indigos that look almost unreal. Other days are more subtle, pastel, like a watercolour painting. Regardless of the palette, each day's display is different. No two sunrises or sunsets are ever the same. And that's part of the beauty. You never know what you'll get, but it's always worth showing up. People travel thousands of miles just to experience a sunset on a remote beach, or wake up at 4 a.m. to witness the sunrise above the sea. These moments become memories we treasure for life. A beach sunrise can mark a new chapter, the start of a journey, a change in mindset, a fresh resolution. A sunset can help us let go, reflect, feel peace, or express gratitude. Both have power, both have meaning. In the end, whether you are an early riser catching the soft blush of dawn or a sunset chaser drawn to twilight's golden glow, The beach provides the perfect stage for the sun's daily performance. It's not just about the light or the colours, it's about the feeling. The beach, combined with sunrise or sunset, is a reminder to pause, to watch, to feel, and to simply be present. It's one of nature's simplest gifts, yet it has the power to move us in the deepest ways. And that's why we return again and again to feel that magic, even if just for a moment.